Hi all. If you're a returning viewer, welcome back. If you are new, welcome. My name is Amira and my channel is all about talking about new makeup, reviewing new makeup, but also finding new and exciting ways to be inspired by the makeup that you already own. If that sounds good to you, I hope you will consider subscribing, and if you enjoy this video, to hit the like button. And let's get into what today's video is all about. Cream bronzers. Okay, so this video I've been planning for a while, and I kept putting it off and putting it off because I was like, I haven't tried enough yet. I don't know. And then I just decided to just do it because basically I have my faves here and I have thoughts on all of these, and I'm just going to share them with you, you know. I don't feel like I necessarily have to do like a 1 hour long diatribe about my cream bronzers, but I can give you a 20-minute diatribe about them. All right, let's get into the one that I've used the least and why I don't use this that often. So first up is the Anastasia Cream Bronzer in the shade Golden Tan. Now, I went back and forth about which shade of this to get. I was really curious about it. My relationship with cream bronzer is relatively new. I really didn't get into cream bronzer until like summer of last year. I tried, well, spring of 2020 is when I purchased cream bronzers for the first time. And then of course we were in the panorama, so I didn't really get to use the ones that the two that I had. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna get use out of these. And they were really the only two that I had. And those were the Fenty cream bronzers, which I'm gonna talk about momentarily. But outside of those, I hadn't really tried a lot of cream bronzers. And so I've been slowly purchasing ones that piqued my interest, and I hadn't really fully formed an opinion about what I wanted in a cream bronzer, you know? So when Anastasia Beverly Hills came out with theirs, I was like, well, I'll hold off. I want to see reviews on it. I want to see what people think about it. And the reviews that I've seen have been pretty good. So I decided to pick it up. But the shade range for me is, it's not the best, guys. I feel like their tones are too orange. They're too orange, and this is medium tan. This is what it looks like. It's super light on camera. It works for my skin tone more in like the winter months than it does in the summer months. But what kills me is that the shade deeper than this one I felt was too dark for my taste. And for me, when it comes to bronzers in general, but especially cream bronzers, is that I tend to like something that's a little bit on the lighter side that I can build up, and that isn't too orange or too cool toned, that's on the neutral side. I don't like a really orange, you know, cream bronzer or bronzer in general because it just makes me look like a Oompa Loompa. I'm not here for that life. I want something that's just going to give me a really natural bronzy glow. So I tend to go for things that are a little bit on the lighter spectrum, but they can be built up to be richer and deeper. So for me, I mean, can you guys see how like orange that is? And when I put it on my skin, it shows up. Like it looks really light on camera, but it actually shows up fine. Like it's not an issue for me. The issue is, for me, is the undertone, is that it just makes me look orange. It builds up beautifully. And this is the brush that I've been using to apply cream bronzer. The formula is lovely. It's nice and velvety, but it just looks orange. And then the shade up from this is way too deep for my liking, for my skin tone. So for me, I just haven't gotten a lot of use out of this. I'm gonna try it a little bit more in the winter maybe and see how I feel about it. But this one for me ranks pretty much last as far as the cream bronzers that are in my collection. And it's the one that I've reached for. Would I say it's the one I've reached for the least? Almost. And we'll get to the other one that I haven't used as much. Next up is the Fenty cream bronzer, the Cheeks Out Freestyle cream bronzer in the shade Honey Glaze. Now, I purchased this bronzer in two shades, in Macchiato and in Honey Glaze, and I panned Macchiato. I actually really loved Macchiato, and I was left with Honey Glaze. And when I picked up Honey Glaze, I realized I don't like it. It's on me again, and this is on me. I think it's a beautiful shade maybe on someone else, but on me, I just feel like it reads very orange. It's just very orange. and it's very warm tone. Very, you see that? And this, even though I really love the formula, I've had this in a project pan and I took it out because I was just struggling to use it because I just didn't like the way the tone looked on me. And I really purchased two because I wasn't sure. Like, again, these are the first two. The first two bronzers, cream bronzers that I ever purchased were the Fenty ones in Macchiato and Honey Glaze. And I had no idea what I was doing as far as the formulation. I didn't know if they were going to be too sheer. So I was like, okay, I'll get two shades and see how I do. And I panned Macchiato, wore it all the time, had no problems panning that product because I wore it consistently. This one I have barely reached for, and I don't like the way it looks on my skin as far as tones go. I feel like these two are very similar in that way, is that they both make me look orange. Next up is one that I purchased the same time that I purchased the Anastasia one, and then I promptly forgot about it. And I mentioned this, and I think I mentioned this in the video about when I was doing my makeup collection videos. There was a whole case of makeup that I completely overlooked because they were things that like I hadn't tried yet, or things that were like oddly shaped that didn't fit in with the rest of my collection, so they kind of had to be packed off to the side, which is why I don't like odd shaped packaging, because of this very reason. They're hard to store and then you forget about them. But one of those things was my Danessa Myricks Power Bronzer in the shade Medium. She looks super light, but what I don't like about it is the formula. It's very gummy, guys. It's like, gummy. It's like when I touch it, it's like to the touch, and you feel it on your skin. And again, it's very warm. The shades that she has for this, I feel like she needs to expand the range. I would also thin out the formula. And when I say gummy, I don't want to say gummy. It's moussey, but it's like a thick mousse that has like tackiness to it, you know? And I don't like that feeling when I'm applying it to my skin. And it's very similar in tone to the Honey Glaze. So I would say of all of these, this is the one I've tried the least. I tried it once and I was like, nah, man, it's not for me, man. So those are the three that I've used the least because of the tones, because they just don't work for me. Now let's get into the ones that I've used the most and that I really enjoy. All right, first up is my beautiful, beautiful baby, my Nars Sun Kissed Bronzing Cream in Laguna. And she looked like this, and I've gotten a lot of use out of her. Now, this tone is technically kind of too light for me, but it's also very neutral, and it's so, but it builds up so nicely, guys, and I prefer this in the winter. I tried it the other day and I wasn't feeling it. And I think it was the thing that I wasn't feeling wasn't the formula. It was the tone on my skin in warmer months. This is more for me a fall winter bronzer because my skin is a little bit cooler. It just feels like, because I wear sunscreen every day, but you can't avoid the sun. You're always going to get a little bit of sun. And so my skin is always just a slightly bit warmer than it normally is, you know, in the cold and, you know, cooler months. So for me, and this is Laguna, and it builds up. It doesn't look like much, but it builds up so nicely. I love this shade on me. I love it. And some people go, it's too cool tone. It looks like I contour you. I don't care what you think. Thank you. I love it. I think it's pretty. I like the way it blends. It's highly pigmented. And it smells really yummy too. So there. Next up is a cream bronzer that I found that reminded me a bit of the Nars one. And since the Nars one is in fact limited edition, I feel like they're going to bring this back, or they brought it back already. I don't know. Maybe that's wishful thinking, but this was so beautiful and they just need to bring it back. This was a limited edition product from last summer and they just need to bring it back in their regular packaging and sell it because it is stunning. Both shades. They have this shade and then there's a deeper shade that I think is beautiful as well. Anywho, I did a full face elf video right around the time when I was first starting my channel, and I bought this putty bronzer in the shade Honey Child because it reminded me of my Nars Laguna, and I'll show them to you. You see how similar they are? This one's maybe a little bit different, but not by much. So that's why I got it, because I was like, oh, that'll be a good dupe for my, let's see if it's a good dupe, you know, as an alternative, considering that the Nars one is limited edition and it's also more expensive. It's an okay dupe. I would say it's not as pigmented, But at the same time, I don't necessarily mind it. It builds up nicely. It does have the same undertone as the Nars does, and it builds up nicely, but I do have to use more product when I'm using this. But I love the formulation. And again, I love this in the winter when my skin is a little bit cooler, a little bit lighter, and it just looks really nice on my skin. And I found myself reaching for that one a lot, like even over the Nars, because I was really sad about, I didn't want to use up my Nars because it was limited edition. So I say, if you're interested in the Nars and they don't bring it back, this one, the e.l.f. Putty Bronzer in Honey Child, is a really good dupe for it. Very good dupe for it. Now let's talk about a bronzer that I haven't used a ton in recent months, recent times, but I still love and was shocked by how much I like it. And that is the Tower 28 Bronzino in West Coast. First time I felt this, I was like, no, absolutely not. It is so balmy, guys. It's so balmy. It doesn't even feel like a cream. It feels like balm. It feels sticky to the touch. And I was just like, hell no, I'm not putting that on my face. And then I put it on my face and I was like, oh, alrighty then. It blends out. It does feel balmy and sticky and tacky to the touch, but it blends out beautifully and it doesn't feel that way once you blend it out. And I set my skin. So if you didn't set your skin, you probably would still have a bit of tackiness, but I set my skin and it wasn't really an issue for me once I did that. But this, do you see that glow? This is what I dream of for summer. This is what I want my skin to look like all day long. It's just glow, 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 glow. Glow, glow. That's what I want. That's what this gives me. And it feels, once you when you dip your brush into it, it doesn't feel as sticky on the skin as it feels when to the touch or in the pan. Thank the Lord. But this is actually a low-key banger, and I was really surprised at how much I like this. And so I bought it towards fall, beginning of fall. And I wasn't really reaching for it a ton in the winter, but I knew, I was like, come spring and summer, these babies coming out to play. So I think in the, once it gets really warm, it gets really, we get into the thick of things, this is going to be the go-to for me. And last but not least is the bronzer that I did not expect to love as much as I've loved. It was a surprise, like we were hanging out, we were just spending time together. And then, the more we spend time together, the more I wanted to spend time with it. And I was like, I think I like you. And that is the Saie Beauty Sun Melt Natural Cream Bronzer Medium Bronze. This is the only Saie Beauty thing I own. And Saie is weird because Saie is one of those brands I feel like people either really like or really don't like. And I've heard so many there are certain products that people just trash, and then there are other products that people rave about, and this is one of those products. And I said, okay, I'm going to set myself up for success, and I'm going to pick a product that I know people love because I don't want to spend my money on something and then hate it. And I'm so glad I did, because this is what I have been reaching for lately, guys. I love this bronzer, and ironically, it's on the warm side, but for some reason, it doesn't make me look like an Oompa Loompa. It doesn't. It's what I'm wearing right now. Like, all of this is the Saie Beauty. It doesn't make me look like an Oompa Loompa. And I think it's because it's warm, but it's just got a little bit, enough neutrality to it to keep it from making you look Oompa Loompa. And I salute it for that. It blends beautifully. It's pigmented, but not too pigmented. I would say my one gripe with the Nars is, baby, do not go in heavy with your brush. I made that mistake. I was out of practice the other day. I went in with my brush. I was like, boom, boom. And the amount of pigment on my face was hilarious. Me trying to blend, and then I was like trying to pick product up to move over here because it was so much. What I like about this is that it's pigmented, but it's not overpowering. I can dip into my brush and I can do one side of my face. I can even start on the other side, and I can do my forehead, and but it's not too much. It's not overwhelming when you dip into the pan. The texture is very, what's the word I'm looking for? The texture is creamy, but not overly emollient. You know what I mean? It's not like, it's not moussey. It's not moussey like this one's moussey. And you see what I mean? Can you guys hear that? That's the Danessa Myricks one. Look at, this is from just my finger. Look at this. Let me see if it'll show. Look at that. This is the Danessa Myricks. It doesn't make it fun to use. You know what I mean? It turns me off. It turns me off, guys. But the Say Beauty does not do that. The texture is nice and emollient and creamy, but it dries down. Like when I say dry down, it's still a cream product. It's still gonna have some tagginess to it, but it's not sticky on the face. You know, like I can wear the Say Beauty bronzer. I can wear the Say Beauty bronzer. I can wear the Nars bronzer. I can wear the e.l.f. bronzer, all of them without setting my face. The Bronzino from Tower 28, the Bronzino on West Coast, I have to set my face. It is tacky enough that you have to set your face. But those three, I do not. I've been doing that yesterday and the day before today. I didn't set my face at all, which is weird for me because since I have, you know, oily skin, I didn't put any powder on. But I used this and it stayed on my face and things didn't stick to my face. And my makeup lasted. And I was like, okay, Say Beauty, I see you. Very impressive. So yeah, these are all of my cream bronzers, and I would say this is a ranking, but not really. I would definitely say that these three are on my bottom. Like I'm probably going to wind up decluttering this one. I might declutter this one as well. We'll see about this one. I don't know. You know, when I do my next declutter, and there's one coming up. I did one in February. I try to do 2 a year. So I've got one coming up either in July or August, and those might be on the chopping block, guys. I'm not gonna lie. But these 4 are ones that I reach for consistently, and I love them. All right, guys, and that is everything. So tell me in the comments down below, what is your favorite cream bronzer? Is it one that I haven't tried? Let me know in the comments down below. And if you enjoyed today's video, please be sure to hit the like button. And if you are not subscribed, please be sure to subscribe. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye now.